Hello and welcome. This video is a little bit past due. What I realized was since starting my most recent position at Sinai Health, I have yet to update my LinkedIn profile. And I figured what better way to update it while screen recording it so that everyone can see what exactly I'm looking to do with the profile in terms of optimizing it, why I'm doing it, so that you can get a better idea of how to optimize your own profile and how to approach the various sections of a profile. I've compiled a whole bunch of advice from all these different outlets and put it all into one master document, which I'll link below in the video so that you can reference. I figured this process of running through it myself so you can see what exactly I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Let's go to my LinkedIn profile. You can either click here directly or down up here in the me section. I'm just going to click the link here, pull up my profile. So my profile is all right. There's a lot that can be improved with this. LinkedIn's evidently claiming I'm an all-star, but I think I could be better than an all-star, and so can you. First thing I wanted to speak about was the architecture. And the goal of your architecture is improve the discoverability to make it easier for your profile to appear within search results. So search engines will prioritize both page content, but also URLs. So you can get a custom URL on LinkedIn, and I have one up here already. It's linkedin.com/in/Ben Holbrook. You'll see right up here at the top. Now that's not the default. By default, LinkedIn typically gives users a mix of letters and sometimes even numbers. Having a customized URL will boost your credibility. It sort of shows that you're detail oriented, that you know technology. And it's also really beneficial, for instance, when you're giving a presentation and if you want to have connection info on your final slide, you can easily put this LinkedIn URL at the end of the slide. So how to do that? Simply you click your edit public profile and URL. It'll pop you in a new tab like this. And you have the top right corner again, edit your custom URL. Ideally, you like to have a first name, last name combo, Ben-Holbrook or Ben Holbrook. You'll notice actually, like I tried to get Ben Holbrook, and if I hit save, that URL is not available. So obviously there's not multiple URLs. So if your name is very common, like John Smith, for instance, you're going to have pretty bad luck. So my recommendation, again, is if possible to start with a first name, last name combo, either first name, last name, first name dash last name. Or if you want to really level up, you can do some sort of branded name. So like the marketing guy or something like that, if that was my brand I was going with. You can also reverse it and try your last name, first name. Or if your name is, again, very popular, maybe you try some sort of combo with your first name dash and a shortened version of your last name. Typically, you only want to have one dash in there. Don't worry about capitalization. Only use letters. Prioritize text and avoid symbols, periods, numbers, all the typical URL stuff that you don't want to do. So get a custom URL. That's probably one of the top things you can do in terms of architecture. The other architectural point that I'd like to point out, I'm going to exit out here of this, creator mode. So LinkedIn just introduced this in 2021. And what that does is it bumps your content within LinkedIn's algorithm to show it to more users. So all you have to do is add 1 to 5 topics. So you'll see it right here under the Your Dashboard. You'll see I have it turned off. So let's turn that on right now. Click that, grow your audience with creator mode. I don't really need to learn more. I'm going to hit next. Tell us what you post about. So again, you can add up to 5 topics. I'm going to add marketing and it does the hashtag. I'm going to do health care jobs recruitment. I'm going to do digital marketing. Again, you're going to try and target your keywords related to the audience you want to focus on. And let's do healthcare because a lot of my audience will be interacting with that hashtag. So I got my 5 hashtags. I'm going to hit save. And there we go. Creator mode has been turned off. Simple enough, right? Now you'll see creator mode is on. I now will see right here what that's done is beneath my claim to fame here, it talks about and it shows all the 5 hashtags that I've done. So great. Those hashtags and topics are now associated with my profile. The next order of priority is the visuals. My visuals look pretty all right, I'd say, but not really conveying employee branding. You'll see it. That's a travel pic I have. It looks super cool, but it's not really related to my professional experience. What you want to do with these two visuals, you want to give your audience a positive first impression. It's your first chance to communicate that you're friendly, likable, trustworthy, all those type of characteristics that you want to show. They're indicators that you're active on the platform. A lot of people don't even have a header image, which is a big sort of no-no. You definitely want one on there. And the headers actually reduce the bounce rate, because if someone comes there and they don't see something in your header, they think you're not even on this platform, so why interact? I think my profile picture looks good as is, because you want to start out wearing what you wear to work. So again, I got a collared shirt in there, so that looks professional. You have someone else take the photo, which I did. It's not a selfie. You can also use a tripod if you don't have someone in the office. And this profile picture of me is straight on, center of the chest upward. So you can see I'm eye level there. That's pretty good. Standing in front of a solid plain wall background that isn't busy or distracting. You don't want things like flowers or posters or skylines, busy stuff like that in the background. And then I'm pretty well lit from this. Ideally, I would have liked to see a little more head-on light. As you can see, I got a bit of shadow under the eyeballs because that's just overhead light coming on me. But I don't think that's too bad right now, because I do have a bit of smile there, so that's pretty good. I think the big key here is the headers. I don't really like this travel picture as my professional picture, so I'm going to change this by clicking the change icon, change photo here, and I'm going to go to this folder. I've created this new header, which looks a lot better. If I hit apply, here's what I've done. Great. What this now tells me is I got an icon, a heart, and a megaphone. So the megaphone conveys my marketing and the heart conveys healthcare. So marketing solutions for healthcare recruitment tells a bit about what I do. And I've also added this little line with a friendly wave, click to follow to get my content in your feed. So I obviously have a call to action. I want people to start following me on LinkedIn. I've also done, just so you know, a branded color that aligns with my Sinai Health Company brand. The one hack I'll show you that I've done for my profile picture is, instead of this gray background, what I've noticed is if you use a photo like this, where you have a colored background, when people see my icon within their feed, that stands out a lot more than the generic gray background, and people are more likely to click it. So this works well with colors like orange, yellow, green, red. Play around with some of the colors. You can do what I just did quite easily, and that's simply removing the plain background that you have in the behind you and replacing it with a colored background. So what I've done is, you can use a free tool, and you'll find the links below, like remove.bg, takes out the background and save that as a PNG. And then you can go on a free tool like Canva or Adobe Spark and create a colored background and just overlay that background removed image onto that. Now I have a header and profile picture that works really well in combo with each other. For the next section is the intro element. So the goal with your introductory elements is to increase your discoverability within keyword searches. The intro elements is your first opportunity to tell others what you have to offer. It's also one of the main fields LinkedIn uses to gauge where to put you within its search results. These are all the upfront elements up here. So you can edit all this right here by clicking this icon. They've recently allowed for a 10-second voice message to accompany your name. Now, typically they wanted that to be used only for name pronunciations, but because it's 10 seconds, most names are shorter than that. So I say go beyond the pronunciation and record a custom greeting message. Let's see if this plays here, if you can hear mine.
Hello, I'm Ben Holbrook. Feel free to connect to talk anything digital marketing specific to healthcare, HR, public speaking, athletics, or more.
There you go. So that's 10 seconds. Got a lot more than just my name pronunciation, which is good. I will say you cannot add these on your computer, or you have to be using LinkedIn's mobile app to actually record those. The next part is the headline. So right here, I've got a headline that says Digital Marketing Specialist at Sinai Health System. Typically, LinkedIn just pulls your job title and your current organization and makes that the combo, which is all right, but you could do a lot better. I'd encourage you to brainstorm the keywords that you want to be associated with, because this headline really plays a key role in terms of where you appear within the search results. You really want to think about what your target audience is searching and drop those keywords within it. I use a real easy 3-piece headline formula done by Madeline Mann. The first element is job title, so your role. A second item is your industry you're in. And the third item is what you do or who you help. What you can do to actually stand out is also inject some emojis. So what I've done here, I'm going to edit. So I don't like that headline. I am going to change it. And this is what I'm creating as my new headline. Digital marketing specialist. So that's my job title. I got healthcare industry. And then I've got building digital campaigns to attract top talent. And what I've also done as a level up is you can see I've got 3 emojis in here. That will make me stand out a little bit more visually, as well as appear within search results for things like, actually, what I'm going to do is healthcare. So I've done that because people search healthcare as one word more likely than 2 words. So there we go. I've got a new headline right off the top there. I already have them in here, but what I've encouraged you to do, former names, for instance, if you recently got married, you can also add pronouns if you feel like it. Show your current company an intro, so you can toggle that on or off if you want. I've got it on. You can show your education if you want. I don't really find the need for that. I would encourage you to put your location in there. This industry tag is pretty important here so that it affiliates your profile with that industry. So I'm affiliated with marketing and advertising. But at the very bottom here, you'll see contact info. So what I have mine pointing to is I've got 2 specific career pages. I've got a higherben.work/resume. So that's my portfolio of past work, and higherben.work. You can also, if you're working, for instance, in recruiting, you could direct those to the company's hiring page so individuals can see the roles. Now I've got a much better looking start to my profile above the fold. So as you can see, I've got visual elements, I've got my name, I've got my voice activated message, and I've got this nice search friendly headline. You got your activity feed, which is great. That's a whole different video. About section. So I'm going to see more. As you can see, it cuts off the text after a few words. So go into this thing remembering that this isn't a cover letter. It isn't a biography. It serves a completely different purpose. And the purpose of this about section is to add context to your career trajectory, show off your accomplishments, and dig into what makes you great at your job. So things to consider. You got to start with an audience in mind. Who are you looking to or hoping reads your LinkedIn profile? It could be recruiters, for instance, if you're job seeking. It could be candidates if you're a recruiter. This will help guide the tone you use, the language you choose, and the calls to action. The text within this about section is a very important element within LinkedIn search results. What the algorithm does in terms of your profile is very important here. So you got to think about the keywords that you're going to inject within this section. Overall, it can and should give the viewers a clear idea of what to do next. Again, the call to action at the very end. It's a 2,000 word limit, so you have plenty of space to work with. Again, though, as I mentioned, it crops out really fast, so you got to keep it tight in the first section and make it very compelling. So you can view how exactly I wrote my summary in the link below. What I'm going to do is copy paste over my new about me. So as you can see, it's 2 paragraphs, a lot of words, not much white space to breathe. And this is what I am going to convert it to. There we go. Okay, so this is much better. You'll see this is a lot easier for people to read. What I've done is I've made the top part a lot more compelling. I've made these lines very attention grabbing. So consider what I am, who I help, and explain a bit of about my present role. So digital marketer, specialized in recruiting healthcare talent. And then marketing is about trading attention. I help organizations get the right type of attention in the most cost-effective way possible. Great, that's nice and compelling, a lot better than the other introductory line. I've got some emojis in there. I've spaced it all out, so I encourage you to use spacing, bullet points if possible. And I've got a bit about the problem as my second line. Digital realm can be hard for business to navigate. That's where I come in. I help, and then I give 3 reasons for I help. 3 things that make me different. Nice bullet points here. I tell my personal values, my personality, and at the end, I give a bit about what I do outside of work. But what's missing here, and I didn't include in this copy paste, is a Compelling end statement. So a call to action, what I want them to do. Connect with me to learn more about jobs in healthcare and marketing yourself as a candidate. There we go. Hit save. And now I have a call to action at the end. So that's great. The next item in a profile you'll see is the experience sections. Some people get this wrong. They simply copy paste their resume over. That's not the way to go. This needs to be a space where you can expand on your resume, not simply repeat it. So how to do this is you'll provide additional context on the information that you're going to put in your resume. Obviously, you want your resume to be tight. Ideally, it's 1 page. Not two, definitely no more than 2 pages on a resume. Some of the things to keep in mind when designing job descriptions. Readability within this section is key. You don't want to do paragraph form. You want bullet points. This will increase engagement with users viewing this content. Make it easy on your readers by using bullet points. Don't use paragraph forms. To add a new experience, you simply click this plus button, and the edit button for it is right beneath it. I will say overall, within a profile, you should have at least 3 recent roles that you want to do there. I will say use correct organizational structure. You'll see here I have 2 different roles within the same company. A lot of people don't do that correctly, and they will have 2 different blocks. You don't want that. You want it tied to the same timeline so that you can see I was actually at this organization since November 2013. Let me show you what I'm going to do for my experience at Sinai Health here. Digital specialist, workforce planning, talent recruitment, healthcare talent. I'll just put recruitment. So why I'm adding that here is you should always have details or description to any generic job titles. Now, mine's not too generic, but if you're something like an accountant, for instance, you don't want to put just accountant. You could use an example like accountant, CPA, budget forecasting. Like give a little more context to the type of focus areas you have within your role. So I'm specifically focused on recruitment. So I'm going to put that in brackets on my role. Again, the company, you'll know you've got the formatting right is if your company has a logo most often. Don't type out your name manually and hit enter without selecting the right one from the list, because what that'll do is it create a new company and you won't be affiliated with that company's LinkedIn page. You want to be tapped into their network. And there's my descriptions, nothing in there. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit save so that you can see what it looks like. Okay, there we go. So what I've done here is I've given a first sentence that describes what the organization does. Because unfortunately, a lot of people miss this point and don't include what the organization does. They just assume that individuals know. So I've put that in there. And then I've put the challenge that the organization has and then what I'm responsible for. And then I've made my responsibilities bullet form. That makes it a lot more readable, nice and tight. That's great. For my next one, you'll see it isn't necessarily the same look. So I want to update that. I think it'd be a lot stronger, my role with National Speakers Bureau. Those bullets are good, but it lacks some of the key information I want to have in there. I'm going to hit, I got to put permanent full-time in there. Make sure you have that information filled in. It looks like LinkedIn doesn't put that by default. Okay, so there we go. So what I've done here is a similar thing, what the organization does right off the bat and who I help and what I do. And I've made the duties and responsibilities in bullet form, so it's nice and easy to read. I'm going to quickly adjust that so it's in a similar format. I don't think those were that compelling, so I've made it a bit tighter. I think the meat in terms of what I did was all found within this initial one because it was a position I was in longer than this one. And a lot of the deeper responsibilities we'd like to see right off the top. So that's good. You'll see I already had these items in here. In case you're wondering what they are, they're hyperlinks to portfolio items so people can see some of the marketing materials that I designed, for instance. So if you have those, great, include them. They could be PDFs, they could be links to videos, they could be all that sort of stuff. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to remove this because it's not related to my current role and responsibilities. I'm going to just delete that. There we go. And I mainly had that in there previously to deal with gap in my resume, but I'm not as concerned about that anymore. So again, this role here at Extreme Group lacks the descriptor of what the organization does, and I think I have a lot more compelling pieces of information here. I've renamed that, and it's along the similar format in terms of bullet points, what the organization does, great. And this one hides beneath the fold. I'm not really going to adjust that. Next up on our to-do list is the education, skills, and recommendations section. So the education, this is an opportunity to expand your network reach. So always include any university or colleges or higher educational institutions within here, because as you'll notice, if you explore company pages, one of the first results it gives you is how many alumni work at that organization. So it clearly prioritizes that as a networking tool. So you want to have as many of the higher education organizations within there, but most people leave it like I have now. You simply have your institution name, what year you graduated, and your graduate level of certification or what you received, like diploma or something. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to use bullet points similar to what I used above and give a little more context. Okay, so now I've got a bullet points in there. So I gave a little more context into what I got out of the educational experience, what I did during my time there. Also include any academic awards. So I got an academic award for academic excellence, and I also wrote for a magazine there, similar to what I'm going to do for McMaster University. This one, hit save. I've added the bullet points in there now. So now I have a little more context around what I got out of the education. Next up is your skills. So what I'd say for the skills section is aim for a minimum of 10, but don't have more than 50. I have a lot in there right now. As you'll see here when I go show more, I have more than that, more than 10, but less than 50. So I'm not really going to tweak that section right now. It does play a role in the algorithm, but not as strong as the above elements. So this is another opportunity to just drop some of those keywords that you're in there. So for instance, for me, things like social media marketing, marketing strategy, content development, those are some of the keywords that I have affiliated in there. And then recommendations, which I don't have any, but I'm going to get about asking for some of those. Typically what I'd recommend is you have for at least 5 and you give at least 3. So I've got a template on how to quickly give someone a recommendation below. I highly recommend you use that and ask them to give you a recommendation. So there we have it. This is my new profile. It looks a lot better. It's going to rank a lot higher. It's optimized for the platform, and I now have creator mode on. So that's great. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, check out the links below, and I'll have some more content coming in terms of networking and content development for LinkedIn. So stay tuned for that. Until then, see you later. Have a good one.